You're watching Countershot, where I talk boxing and fighting in general. I also address some of the controversial issues surrounding boxing, which could end up getting hot. Some people find comfort in the heat, others will need sunblock, and some will just get back into the air conditioning. But in the House of Truth, the aim is not to offend, but to look at things from a different perspective. So today is going to be something that's not really controversial, but it is. What I'm going to be talking about is the Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall bout. It was a fight that ended in controversial decision. So what I want to do is I want to really analyze the fight itself. Mainly Josh Taylor. Jack Catterall came in, of course, as the underdog, but when you look at the fight, you're going to find that he may have had a much better game plan and a better execution of the game plan than Josh Taylor did. I'm just going to run the fight. I'm not even going to have any sound. I just want you to be able to see what it is that we're discussing here, because that's more important than anything. It's interesting because this is going to be a technical analysis of this particular fight. It'll be a technical analysis, and then just sort of me giving my opinion of what we might expect going forward from this. So as I said, an analysis. All right. Josh Taylor went into this fight with 18 wins. Jack Catterall went into this fight with 26 wins. Neither of them have any losses, which I'll discuss that as well in regard to Josh Taylor. We have Mr. Catterall, who had 13 knockouts going into this fight, and the same for Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor stands at 5'10", and Jack Catterall stands at 5'7". And of course, those numbers sometimes change. It's always give or take an inch in professional boxing. We know this. Josh Taylor went into this fight. Both of them went in. It was supposed to be 10 stone, so about 140 pounds. Interestingly enough, they say that sometimes Josh Taylor, according to him, goes into fights after the weigh-in once he rehydrates. He could rehydrate to roughly 16 pounds heavier than he is at weigh-in, which is interesting because really that puts him close to a full-blown middleweight. So that said, with his height being 5'10", 5'11", in some cases, depending on what you read, he's gonna probably move up soon. 69-inch reach to Jack Catterall, 67-inch reach. So neither of them have a really long reach. All right, now let's look at how this fight was approached. Okay. All right. If you will notice, Josh Taylor is the taller man. Okay. Now, one of the things about this fight that's interesting is that Josh Taylor's the only one that got knocked down. In the 8th round, I believe it was, he got knocked down. So here we have the taller man by at least a couple of inches. He should be working, with a very active jab. That's the first thing to start with. When you're the taller man, and you also have the longer reach, and that's what's really important too, is that reach. That's very important. Some people always think the taller man, hey, he's got the reach advantage. Not true. So, many times the shorter man will have a longer reach. That was the case with Floyd Mayweather quite a bit, by the way. Floyd Mayweather has a longer reach than Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, I believe, I'm pretty sure that's right. I think he had a 70-something inch reach. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's around 72 or something. I might be wrong. The point is, a lot of times the shorter guy will have a longer reach. Terrence Crawford, different weight class, shorter than Josh Taylor, longer reach, I believe 74 inches. The point, Josh Taylor's a taller guy with a longer reach. But look how he engages. He's allowing a shorter man to out-jab him. Now, they're both southpaws. So they're not going to run into that situation where you're always headbutting one another accidentally. They can fight pretty comfortably. Sometimes it's awkward for southpaws to fight each other because they're so accustomed to fighting orthodox fighters. Let's get into the technical aspects of this match. All right. What should Josh Taylor be doing right now? Was one of the things that would be more beneficial to him than what he's doing. So let's take a look. Because truthfully, let's get the controversy out of the way. Truthfully, Josh Taylor lost the fight. But then I don't believe. If you just look at the points, if you just look at it for what it is, get away from your opinion. Don't listen to commentators. Sometimes people need to listen to a fight with the sound off. Don't listen to the commentators, the crowd, or anything. Look at the fight. Look closely. You're in a good position where you're in your own living room. And sometimes that does put you at an advantage. Sometimes it may not. But because you don't see all the angles. Look at Jack there. But when you're looking at the fight, look at it for what it is. You're looking at points scored. Now, when I'm scoring a fight, I don't count shots that are not truly clean punches. That means the knuckle. Okay, you make contact with the knuckle. If I see a guy slapping and pawing, those don't count. Now, Josh just did one such thing. He just slapped. I don't count those at all. Even if he knocked the guy out with that, the referee shouldn't even count that, honestly. You're supposed to be striking with the knuckles, okay? So when you're scoring a fight, you should take all those things into consideration. All right, body shots. Is the guy rapid punching? If a guy's rapid punching, I'm not giving him anything for that. If a guy's holding, literally holding and hitting, I'm not giving him anything for that because the referee should be standing in there giving a man warning, taking notice of those things. If he's not doing that, he's not doing his job. So I only count clean punches. So we're looking at what they call ring generalship. So I ask you, who is the ring general here? Who's displaying a high, quote-unquote, boxing IQ. So we're going to be looking at the strategies here. We're going to be looking at the height advantage, as I'm doing in the reach, and who's using, their weight the best way, if there's any advantage there. who's controlling things, uh, who has the best movement, who understands, you know, how they should be moving given the circumstances. Strength and conditioning. A lot of people don't know how important strength and conditioning is in these fights. Strength and conditioning can make you or break you in a fight, believe it or not. Um, so, if we look, Josh Taylor has a habit of getting down to his opponent's level, his height. So, as a fighter, you should really try to use your height. Even if you don't have the reach advantage, use your height. Okay? So, he's very quick to engage. The entire fight, he's really, trying to be the aggressor. Catterall's naturally just sitting back, counterpunching, letting Josh Taylor commit. And in many cases, more times than not, he makes Josh Taylor pay for his now rabbit punch right there. That's illegal. Let me show you. These are things I don't count. He's holding. Josh Taylor has that. See, Josh Taylor has a habit of holding and hitting. Now, he released just before he hit that time, but Josh Taylor has a habit of holding and hitting. Show you one more time here. How this can go. All right, let's get it here. Okay. So, right here. That's a rabbit punch, and he does that a lot. He does it in. I haven't watched a lot of Josh Taylor fights, only a few, because I just haven't been that interested. He fights overseas more than anything, so until these guys fight in America, I don't see them, as often as I might, otherwise. But you know, that being the case, I've had to just take the time to study some of Josh Taylor's fights and study his habits. And I'm going to say he's a good fighter, but he makes a number of mistakes that on the highest level they're going to cost him. They've already been costing him, to be perfectly honest. But he's been given gifts. When you fight at home, a lot of times that happens. But he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter, but he does things that are going to get him in some trouble if he fights the right or wrong guys. So the first thing is he has a tendency to get down at that height. He's right there, right down there, and he continues to get himself in that position unnecessarily. He should be jabbing, and depending on what he deems Catterall's more dangerous punches, or the most dangerous punch from Catterall, he should be moving in a direction that makes it a lot more difficult for Catterall to be able to pull that punch off. So in this particular fight, Josh Taylor couldn't seem to get away from the straight left hand, for one thing. Okay? Remember, they're southpaws, so it's the straight left hand that's been getting Taylor into quite a bit of trouble in this fight. So what should Josh be doing? Okay, number one, as I said, he's not fighting tall. He's fighting like a short man. He's getting down there, so his height doesn't mean anything. He could use his height at least to make it difficult to get caught with headshots, but he's getting caught with a number of those straight left hands like that. And Catterall's smart because he's going high and low. He's switching levels on a regular basis. He's using a nice jab. Catterall's got a nice jab. It's a quick jab, and it's a jab that's got something on it. It's enough to make Josh Taylor respect him, or should. But Taylor seems like maybe he came in to try to get a quick knockout. Didn't happen, and not even close. So he should be, in this particular fight, and the referee, I might add, somewhat was over officiating in this match. He was way too visible, and a good referee really should sort of disappear into the woodwork and only be there when necessary. And there were a lot of reasons why he should have been in, but he was in even more so than he should have been. The point is, Judge Taylor should be moving to his left. He should really be concentrating on moving to his left to stay away from the straight left hand of Catterall, making him what? Pick his feet up, turn, and have to reset. So he should really be boxing because he's supposed to be a good boxer. So really, right now he's low. He's fighting low and short and trying to stay in the pocket, but he's being outboxed. And see that right there. He shouldn't do that. A lot of slick stuff Josh Taylor does is really actually kind of dirty. In one part of this fight, he actually hit the headbutt, and I really kind of think that Taylor, because deep down he was getting frustrated, I believe he headbutted Catterall intentionally. That's just my view. With my experience, I've seen quite a bit of that go on. Seen Lomachenko and different guys do the same thing. So he's not moving the way he should be moving. See, he's coming forward, right in front of Catterall. You don't see a whole lot of head movement. He just wants to mix it up and bang, and it's just not working out. So he should have been making some adjustments, or his corner at least should have stepped in and made some adjustments. But it's not happening. So if you watch it again with Catterall's straight left hand, whether it's the straight or going to the body, with a hook, Catterall is outboxing him. Okay. You'll notice too that, like I say, Josh Taylor does a lot of holding and hitting, and you don't want to get into that. But if you can get away with it, a lot of fighters will do it anyway. Okay, so bad strategy on his part, because Catterall is handling him, and he's handling him pretty easily. All right. This is what you see the entire fight. There's never a change. There's never a change in the strategy. Okay? He should be using his jab way more effectively. Josh Taylor actually has a pretty good jab. He's down some guys. I question some things surrounding him, putting guys down with his jab. There's some things I've seen that really make me wonder. But he has the jab. He's not effectively using it. His range, again, he gets right in the pocket and stands right in front of Catterall. These are things that he doesn't need to be doing at his height and with the reach advantage. He could have made this night easy. Catterall is obviously, look at that. Suckered him in and boom, boom, boom. He ran off a nice combination right there. Okay, let's look at that again. Look at what Catterall did. Catterall's content to counterfight. Okay, you see this? He's intelligent. He tie him up many times when Taylor would jump in. Now, but watch the counter. He waits for the commitment. And then, okay, on the delay, 3-punch combination, pulled it off beautiful. And he was still luring Taylor in because Taylor is coming forward the whole time. And the problem also with Taylor is when he moves in and when he does attack, he really stays right in line with his punches. He doesn't do a very good job. He doesn't do a very good job of getting off that center. Okay, and that's a mistake that a lot of guys will make. It sets you up for the easy counter shot. So, and there are various ways to counter punches, and one of the most devastating ways is to obviously catch the guy on his punch, check hooks and things like that. Catch the guy as he's throwing. Shoot the right. In their case, like shoot the straight left over the guy's hook. Pull counters. jab on his jab. The guy that jabs off the other guy's jab, the one that's usually the most successful with getting his points, is going to be the one that has the better head movement. Okay, but Taylor has a tendency, and he moves straight in a straight line behind his punches. It's just not. That's not smart. This is like poor coaching. This is poor coaching. And when he's getting to the inside, he's not. He's not getting any advantage. Catterall's not allowing for any advantage. This is what's going on. There should have been a change in strategy. This is going on the entire fight. And again, he gets knocked down as well. See, how are you letting the little man, how are you letting the smaller man out jab you? Did he have a bad night? Was he just off this night? Who knows? But again, I've seen him lose, well, not according, to the commission. He's won all of his fights, but I've seen a few that should have been losses. One of them that stands in my mind, the most recent one that I think of, obviously, is to Regis Prograis. And a lot of people are like, he didn't lose, but technically, he did. I would not have given the fight to Taylor, but I think they should have a rematch. And Catterall definitely deserves a rematch as well. So, he's not, Josh Taylor's not, he's not actually boxing, where the sweet science applies. Hit without getting hit. He lumbers forward. He may get off a punch or two, but he gets tied up, just like this. And when he's not getting tied up, he's getting hit. He's committing, and he's paying for his commitment. He's rarely the one who's able to take advantage of his aggression. So ring generalship here really applies to Catterall. He's the one that's dictating the fight for real, because he's allowing Josh Taylor to put himself in a position where, and there's more rabbit punches, it's just illegal. Where he's he's kind of being made to look silly. Now, again, he should be circling to his left, and he should be pumping that jab and forcing Catterall to come to him. Catterall doesn't really want to do that. Now, I'm not saying he can't, but he doesn't. He doesn't have to right now, because he's doing great with Josh Taylor being the aggressor. So Taylor's really in a situation right now where, okay, he's trying to figure something out. Apparently his corner hadn't given him much information, because he's still not doing what, again, I know would allow him to make this fight a lot easier. But, in his little mind right now, he's like, okay, I got to do something different, but it's not much different. He's standing back a little more, trying to figure out how he can maybe use feints and things like that to get in. But he's yet to try just good, solid boxing from the outside, circling, using that jab and that reach advantage, and, getting those points in the bank, because if you are on the outside moving properly, pumping that jab, as Catterall is doing with him as he retreats, by the way, and still nailing him. If you're on the outside and using that reach advantage and you are scoring with that jab, the other guy's going to have to, if you're preventing him from being able to successfully engage, he will have to come forward. He will have to come to you, in which case you end up doing what Catterall's doing to him. But he never switched. And again, because he moves straight down the line, it's easy to be countered. It's almost as if he can only think to do one thing at a time, like he can't. And I know he's better than what I'm saying, but styles make fights too. Maybe something about Jack Catterall is just a frustration to him. At any rate, this went on throughout the fight, and you see, you have the smaller man doing the damage, being the smarter fighter, and he's just fighting intelligently. And he didn't have to change anything. Catterall didn't have to change a thing because Taylor was playing right into his hands.